Hi, I'm Amy with Pak Medical Group by Novacare Health, and we're here today with Dr. David Pak. He's a DO of Internal Medicine and with Pak Medical Group by Novacare Health. And I just wanted to kind of ask you, what got you into healthcare? What made you go into this?
Actually, like life throws you a curve. I never meant to be a doc, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I grew up on a really poor side of town in the south side of Chicago. And where I was in high school, we really, our trade school was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, our workshop, our metal shop, wood shop, the auto shop,
Mm-hmm.
it was so good that they were, all these places would be recruited. And so as soon as they graduated from high school, they already had a position. And the reason for that is that I think it was less than 10% of our graduating class went out to higher education. So I always thought that I was going to be a trade person. But then in junior year, I kind of figured, well, maybe I should try and pursue something higher.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into school. And then when I got into a liberal arts school, I actually thought I was probably going to be an attorney of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
I met this amazing guy named Frank in my sophomore year. And he grew up from a long lineage of physicians. His great-grandfather was a doctor. His grandfather was a doctor. His father was a doctor. And he would dress up and go into the clinic with his dad, and that was like his favorite thing. So he told me, by second grade, he knew that he wanted to be a doctor. And he all the things that he saw his dad do, actually connecting with patients and people and making a difference in their lives, he thought that was the coolest thing ever. So I got kind of, raptured into his enthusiasm, and so I changed my major sophomore year in my college, and then that's how I got into medicine, because of him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm sure he had some great things to tell you that he's learned from working with his dad or going in and seeing patients with his dad. All of that. What have you learned from your patients?
Yeah. So interesting. When I was going through residency and being in internal medicine track, I always thought I'd go into some kind of subspecialty. I was thinking either cardiology or oncology.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a 1 month rotation with one of the attendings, and he was a geriatrician, and all his patients were 65 and older. And almost immediately, I knew that's what I wanted to do.
That was your life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. S asked me, he's like, why do you love it so much? And I kind of talked to him and said, I don't know why, but it's I don't know if you ever had something where you did something and you just knew instantaneously that
Mm-hmm.
this is what you want to do for the rest of your life, and there was just like an aha moment,
Mm-hmm.
And then I tied it back. I said, I think the reason why I'm so attracted to seniors, why I gravitate towards that, is that both sides of my grandparents died before I was born. So I never had grandparents. And, while growing up in Southside, playing sports with all the kids and everything, and every time they went to their grandparents, they came home, and they always have like candy or a different T-shirt, or they always get gifts and
Get
just
spoiled by
and get spoiled,
grandparents.
yeah,
Yes,
and get
yes,
loved on.
yes.
And I was thinking, what are these people grandparents? Are they like angels on earth or something? And I felt like I got robbed,
Yeah.
which I did, right? Because I never had them, and so I'm pretty sure that's the reason why I kind of gravitated towards that, and why I really enjoy just being with seniors all the time.
Well, I'm sure it interested you too, because you think about it. Seniors have such wonderful stories. They have such, they've had their lives that they can share with you, and I'm sure that you love to hear their stories in clinic even.
Oh yeah, and Amy, you heard me say that I feel so blessed in the way that I actually have a career where I learn so much more from my patients, and I've taken so much more than I've given, because they're just so genuine, and they come from a place of experience life experiences
Mm-hmm.
rather than reading something from a book,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the oldest patients I had, I had several that were over 100 years old.
Wow.
And so, they experienced World War II. I mean, they went through some really rough times. And I think Tom Brokaw wrote a book called The Greatest Generation, and that was based on that really hard grit generation. But there's everything from, relationships, family, finances, illness, how to deal with illness, how to deal with loss, all those kinds of things. You can't live to be 100 years old and not deal with loss, right?
Correct.
And so when they talk about it, I genuinely listened and took notes. And then starting about 2001, I was thinking, man, they're sending me every single encounter is like gold, wisdom, gold wisdom. And so I said, I don't want to waste this. So I started jotting down that like a diary or a memoir. And so I have these, now, God, I'm getting old, over 25 plus years of seeing seniors, and I have this golden notebook of memoirs of things that I've learned from them.
Well, I remember from your doc talks even that you've done in the past that your biggest takeaway was you wanted every single one of them to go home and start a memoir.
Yep.
Because it was so important for them to, because all those stories you hear in clinic, for their children to hear and their grandchildren to hear.
Yep.
And we think about it nowadays, and we can't fathom some of the things that they've lived through, like the world, like the wars and, everything that they had to deal with, and the trials and tribulations of their marriages, because their marriages lasted, they last a lot longer from the senior citizens than they do nowadays in our lives. So, that was your big takeaway from those was go home and start a memoir. Get one going so that your legacy lives on.
Exactly.
Your children, your grandchildren can always look at this and go, wow, I can't imagine, but this is what my grandma lived through.
Yeah. So I totally agree. Is that they're living gold. All these things that they experience, what they think maybe that they lived through, and how they persevere through all the hardships and everything, and how they got through it. To be able to share that with those that love, that they're close to me, it's invaluable.
Yes.
And I do encourage all patients to do that. And I think, unfortunately, not as many as I want them has taken my advice, but even if it's just one extra person that does it, to me, I think it's worth it.
I think it's great, though, that you actually take what their words of wisdom are and take it home into your memoir.
Right.
And so your patients mean that much to you, that what they're telling you and their stories and all of that hits you in a way that is more, you have to have an intimate relationship with your doctor.
Yep.
No one can deny that a doctor-patient relationship is very intimate. They know everything about you, whether it be mentally, physically, all of that. And, for you to be able to take some of their wisdom, some of their knowledge, some of their marriage life lessons, whatever it might be, and write it in your own memoir is something to say about you, actually. So that's why you wanted to be a geriatric provider.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's what got me into it, and that's what gets me excited every single day to be able to do that. Because what defines and what makes it really important is not obviously taking care of their chronic illnesses is really important, and I take a great deal of pride in that. But what gets me excited and what sustains is not that. It's the connection. Right? It's the genuine connection you have with them and what's important to them, and they share their life stories with their relationships with their children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren and all the things that they went through. And so it's the human condition and the human experience that makes it really, that's the valuable part. Right?
Well, I think that makes a patient's appointment a better experience for them anyways. No one wants to go see their doctor, but I have found in my experience of working with you all these years is people actually do enjoy coming to see you, because sometimes that's the only time that they actually are able to talk to somebody. You know, they're, maybe their loved ones are already gone, so maybe they're, they're not close close to their grandchildren, their children, they're moved away and they're, isolated or whatever, especially through COVID. So I'm sure that they, from what I've heard, the seniors love to come visit with you, because it's not just an appointment. It's a experience, friendship.
It is. It's an experience for both ways. It's a genuine connection. That's important. We really enjoy spending time together. And they might come see me for, XYZ, for a heart condition or blood pressure or cholesterol or some of the common chronic conditions. But a lot of the times it's not that. It's about actually having someone listen, genuinely listen, and to let them know that what they have to say is important. And that, I wait on every word. And, that's important. And also, I really love the fact that a lot of my women patients, they don't think I notice, but I definitely notice. So I take a note, like when they wear a certain dress, or they get their hair done appointment, I can tell they
have to get done up just to go to their doctor's
exactly.
appointment. Absolutely.
And I can tell that they did a really, really, they went to
I
hair
love
appointment,
that.
it's perfect, And I said, oh my gosh, Mrs. G, your hair looks amazing.
That's their day out.
Yeah, exactly. And, and so a lot of the clinic people, it's like, why do you always dress up when you go to clinic? And the reason for that is because they dress up for me, and it's just out of mutual respect. And so, and it's really important for them, all those little things that you notice, it makes a big difference.
It does. I mean, it doesn't make it just a stuffy doctor's appointment where you're in and out and, that they weren't heard, they're just a number. They actually feel human and as a person, so I love that.
And actually sharing their stories. And it's kind of unfortunate because, especially after COVID, it was such a hard time during COVID because I had so many patients that were isolated, and oh my gosh, I can't even tell you emotionally and spiritually how it just took a toll on them. It was just really, really sad, and I'm so glad that we're past that. That was a nightmare, but during that time, I think everybody learned a lot about how important social connection is.
Socialization.
Yeah.
It's huge. Absolutely. I mean, we did learn how to work more digitally on, as far as Facebook Messenger and video and all of that, to be able to keep in touch with our loved ones during that time. So I think a lot of seniors, you had mentioned before, had, Facebook used to be a young thing. Now it's more of a, our, generation and up,
Keep
thing.
an eye on it, yeah.
Yes, because we're able to keep in touch with our grandkids and our children and all of that through that. So, I want to ask you, since you have seen patients, in their hundreds, what is probably the longest marriage that you've seen in your clinic? Because I know that's important for you.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm very fortunate in the fact that, I have so many patients that the big anniversary is the diamond anniversary, which is 60. And so I have quite a few that were, celebrate their diamond anniversary. The oldest couple.
You just don't hear that nowadays.
No, I know.
Yeah.
The oldest marriages, they just celebrated their 70th, which is phenomenal. And so you can't do that without going through a lot, right?
A lot. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I learned about from them is what makes it important, how, what makes marriage important. It's interesting, I think I mentioned that before, was I asked all of them, what's the secret? Because you always want to know what the secret sauce is.
Right, absolutely.
And not one couple used the word love. Not one. The most.
I mean, I'm sure they love each other.
I'm sure, but that wasn't,
Yeah.
It wasn't.
That's not the key.
No, what sustains is mutual respect and trust.
Yeah.
And they use that term a lot. So,
absolutely, because once you lose that, it's hard.
Yeah, so those are the morsels of wisdom that I was talking about, and then talk about how you deal with misbehaved children, and how you deal with finances. Like one patient told me about. I actually confided in that a friend of mine wanted me to invest, and so he one of his ideas, and he wanted to borrow money, and I just confided in him. He was a successful guy, and I said, "What do you think?" And he gave me great advice. He said, if it's a really close friend or family member, and you're thinking about lending them the money, then don't lend them the money. Just give them the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't expect it back.
Don't expect it back. Just that either you say no, or just give them the money, and you have no expectations that comes back, because that can erode in a relationship. And it was amazing. What a great advice that he gave on that, and it's so true. And so that's what it's about. And they talk about gifts. Unfortunately in society, when you give somebody a true gift, means that you give somebody with nothing
Correct.
in return, nothing,
Not to expect anything in return.
back. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen. Right? Yeah, you and I both know that.
Right.
And so those are some of the life lessons. I mean, just more so lessons that we talked about. And so those are some of the things why I wanted to create this podcast, because I've learned so much.
Yes.
And that I think it would be great to share those experiences with people out there.
I'm sure.
And I'm talking about real life experiences, not learning something from a book, or from an expert that you see everywhere on social media, And so these are really important lessons that my patients have, taught me through genuine experiences that they went through, genuine hardships that they went through. And so
you're going to have different topics. You're going to have different, even, I'm sure things as far as learning things for, seniors learning financial, things, and insurance benefits and all. I'm sure you're going to go into a whole lot of things going into the future, because we're going to be doing quite a few of
a lot of things that they make mistakes on. I'll give you a real example, a real life example. One of my it's unfortunate, but I'm sure everybody knows that it's men that usually die more than women. So it's like almost 80%. So a lot of my patients, older patients, are women. And one Mrs. G, she told me a harrowing story where they thought they were prepared, for ideal situation is that you want to both go at the same time, but that rarely happens, right? And the reality is that most of the time that the women will outlive their husbands. But needless the case is that she shared with me that they thought they were prepared, and so they would talk about all the financial things and passwords and all those things that they had in the vault and everything like that. But one particular nightmare was cable company. It was under her husband's name. And she said to try to get that stupid cable contract canceled. She said it was a nightmare. And of course, as a cable company, they're going to do everything they can to not let you cancel.
Correct.
Right? And so she told me a harrowing story about all these things, like you weren't listed on the contract and everything else. And so, it's there. So we're going to talk about a lot of those things that you kind of
just life.
Yeah, just in life, and how to prepare. And even though some of the more uncomfortable situations or things you don't want to think about, but if you don't think about it, someday you wake up and it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do?
Yes, and hopefully they'll wake up and say, oh my gosh, I'm prepared because we listened to the podcast from Dr. Pak.
Exactly.
So, yes, and so speak about real life. I know you've heard the dogs barking in the background. Those are Pak Medical Group mascots. Yes, right. Rosita and Paco.
Yep.
Yes,
they are.
They're the sweetest little things,
and they love my patients too.
Yeah. Oh, they used to be in the clinics all the time.
I know.
Yes. So people love them. So stay tuned. We are going to be doing these weekly, and we would love for you to join us every time. Thank you so much, and thank you, Dr. Pak.
Thank you, and looking forward to connecting with you.
Yes.